Hello everybody and welcome to Going for Goldbridge. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's going to find out who's naughty or nice. I tell you what, I'm more concerned what an old bloke is doing going in kids' bedrooms when they're asleep. He's got to be on a list himself. But naughty or nice, I know it's Christmas, but it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that because, you know, the traditional... Have you been naughty? Have you been nice? But have you been naughty or nice in 2019? Take a long, hard look at yourself. I'm going to be doing it as well. We're going to be taking your questions, of course. But I just want to start off with a story. I was watching something. I do like YouTube. We're on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. I do like YouTube, but I do want to say that it's only really in the last 6 months that I've started to really expand my YouTube viewership. And Christmas is a time for giving, apparently, and I'm not receiving. I'm not interested in anything like that. That doesn't work for me. But I'm already going downhill with this. But realistically, I'm not going down on anybody either. But what I wanted to say is that I like nostalgia. I like nostalgia, and at this time of year it comes to the fore. And I was watching on YouTube. I've started there's certain shows I like to watch at Christmas, and I was just lying in bed the other day and I was thinking, you know what, I really used to like Grumpy Old Men at Christmas, and it was just like a programme, and you know, celebs of the time would be asked about certain things, like about Christmas, and I just remembered watching it and I was like, I couldn't find it anywhere, searching it on Virgin TV, and don't worry, Virgin TV isn't a place that FIFA players go and watch. It's not their own channel. It's like Virgin Media, which again isn't something that very good FIFA players. I've done that joke once before. Anyway, look. So I searched on YouTube Grumpy Old Men at Christmas, and they had it on there. And what I like about YouTube is they have stuff on there, like TV programs that people have just recorded and put up there. So it's very good for that sort of thing. And I was watching a segment about Christmas cards, and it reminded me of something that I did, and they mentioned it on this program, but I used to do this, and I tell you what, I would recommend, if you are like me and you like banter, do this, because the success rate is well over 90%, unbelievably, and the satisfaction and laugh, if you can laugh, if you like a joke, if you like a joke where you're the only one who gets it, this is perfect for you. And this worked for me for 2 years in a row, and then I just stopped doing it. I should have kept doing it, really, because it's even funnier every year you do it. So what I did, mother-in-law and mother both sent them a Christmas card through the post, bought stamps, and basically wrote the card to mother-in-law. I'm not going to give her a real name, that's not fair, but let's pretend her name is Carol. I've given the real name. To Carol, Merry Christmas from Debbie and Steve and Charlotte, Hayley and Gary. I think it was Gary. Hope you've had a good year. Hope the girls are doing well. We've just moved into a new house and hope to catch up with you in the new year, right? Totally fictitious. And I did the same to my mum as well. Different names, right? They live in different cities and they're not going to see each other's card. But I created these little backstories for both people, right? Sent the cards and sort of just thought, let's see what happens. And imagine, right? I loved it, right? I told the wife about it, just so I couldn't, a joke shared is always better. And we went round to see Carol, mother-in-law, and all her Christmas cards are up. And I went and had a look at them, and there it is. She put it up. And this, to me, is the brilliant thing about people, right? They'll get a card from somebody, they don't even know who it is, but they'll put it up because it still fills a space on the mantelpiece. These people don't exist. They've opened the card, read from, I've even forgotten the names I gave you, and how are you, and the kids, They don't even know it. Imagine they've opened this card and they've gone, I don't actually remember who these people are, but they clearly know me. Maybe, I'll put it up anyway. The best bit is, up the road to Nottingham, go to my mum's house, she's got her card up as well. I'm like, oh my God, the satisfaction of it. And I did it the next year as well. Absolutely loved it. Love it. What a joke. Because people, you think they're not going to put the card up. They're not going to put it up. They're going to think, I don't know who that person is. But it is brilliant. It is absolutely superb. I love it. It makes me laugh now. And people are probably watching this going, I don't find that very funny. It is. It's so great. It's great. It's great. I loved it. People open a card that I've made up with made up people, read it, and still put it on the mantelpiece when they don't have it. They clearly don't know who it is. Imagine in their mind they think, it might be them that we met on holiday. Brilliant. Absolutely superb. But the best bit about it in the card is you put something personal to them, like, so how are your daughters getting on? Has she married such and such? And it really, it's hilarious. Anyway, naughty or nice, and we'll do a couple of your questions as well. Douglas, Statman Doug says, which protagonist from a book or movie would make the worst roommate? Well, look, I think people will come up with look, I can think of lots of films. I wouldn't fancy bloody any Jim Carrey character would give me a headache, to be honest with you. But I think Mary Poppins would be very frustrating because it's a woman. Mary Poppins isn't bad looking, is she? Emily Blunt or whatever her name isn't bad looking. But imagine sharing a room with her. The only bedroom action you're going to get there is her singing while she tidies up the room and talks about giving you bloody diabetes from chucking sugar in your bloody on a spoon. But yeah, you wouldn't get much joy out of her, would she? Bloody cleanaholic. Ever been to Norway or planning to visit one day, says Isaac. No. And if you could take... a lot of people talking about football as per usual. Country you'd most like to visit that's quite out there, says Aidan Humphrey. I've always quite fancied Antarctica or something like that. And I'm not mad on the cold, but I do like snow. I'll probably be very fed up after a few minutes. Build a snowman, get really cold, no central heating, and yeah, you're stuck here for a little bit. So yeah, probably not that. Film of the century, says RJ. It's such a hard question. It's such a hard question to answer that. Do you think... well, let me talk about naughty or nice as well. So naughty or nice. And I think about this year, for me, have I been naughty and have I been nice? And I just think that... and I just want to say as well, and I'm glad I've left this a little bit in, we've had a big election in the UK. I think a lot of people are feeling disengaged with the country. It's an absolute majority for the winner. And I think... what I would say is this. I've lived through numerous different parties in the UK, and it'll be the same for anybody in the world. The future's yours, and those people who voted and you lost, you voted. I can't argue with that. You voted, and that's a very, very good thing. But I think the lesson to be learned from this is that social media is a powerful thing, but it's a dot in relation to loads of people aren't on social media. I think a lot of people started to believe that their movement was bigger than it was because it was tiny. Also, you know, these in the future, your voice is already loud, but you know you've taken that first step into politics, and that's a good thing, and I respect people for that. And you can't win every battle as well. And also, I think the most important thing as well, what I've seen on social media in relation to politics over the last few weeks, is the amount of big accounts telling people how to vote, thinking that their voice counts, and it's insignificant. And that's a really good thing for me, because I think if you are going to get into politics or anything, or football opinion or whatever, have your own bloody opinion and don't lose track of your opinion, and don't, you know, bother yourself with what anybody else is telling you to do. So you can't win everything, but the future's yours. And I think that, you know, as bad as things might seem to some people today, the future can change, and you can be part of that change. So well done for voting on that. Good things I've done this year to get me on the nice list. I do a lot of good things. You know, I'm very proud of the charity stream we did. That something like that, you know, raising that amount of money for something really important cannot be underestimated. And if it wasn't for me, that wouldn't have happened. I'm joking. I mean, collectively we all did that. So if you're involved in that, that's a good thing. But I'm not golden. You know, there are bits of rust on me, and I must admit, sometimes I'm driving along a road, it's chucking it down with rain. I can see a car that's obviously been waiting for a long time. I could just slow down and flash them out, and I don't. So you know, there is naughtiness in there. So I think that's a good thing though, because I think when it comes to being naughty or nice and checking your list twice and all that, I think that ultimately, what makes life interesting is that, you know, if you think about film characters, I always mention, what's his name out of Game of Thrones, that Jaime Lannister. He starts off as a complete arsehole, then he sort of comes good, and then he sort of goes, you know, into that middle ground. And I think that middle ground is the most important ground. Everybody's got to have manners and good parts to them, and I think that's massively important. But I've said this so many times on the United Stand and other things. What irritates me about the world we live in today is these people who pontificate like their farts don't smell. You know, we've all done things. Everybody's got skeletons in their closet. Some of them are very big skeletons, and some of them are just, you know, little naughty things that we might have done. But I've been on this planet for a long time. I've done lots of different things. I've met lots of different people. And everybody has their weaknesses. And I think in my youth, and I say my youth, I personally don't think that anybody really starts growing up until they're in their 30s. And because experience is a big thing. And I think when I was younger, probably certainly in my late teens and early 20s, I could be quite, if somebody pissed me off, because I'm big on trust and loyalty, I'd be like, they're out. You're out of this, like that film, Meet the Parents. You're out of the circle of trust. Piss off. Whereas as the older I get, the more I realise that people do make mistakes, and at the time and second chances are important. Third and fourth chances, you start to be a bit naive. There are some evil shits out there, but I think definitely everybody's got a weakness, and that's why a lot of this stuff you see, sometimes I'll see headlines on papers or on the internet, and I'll think, they're going in on somebody, and I just feel, whoever's wrote that, have you never done that yourself? Or are we just living in a pontificating world now where nobody can do anything wrong? Because if we're going to do that, if you want your idols or whatever to be people who have just never done anything wrong, then you're just going to end up with robots. And maybe that's the way we're going, Terminator 4. But I think that learning from your mistakes and, having a little bit of naughtiness about you. And naughtiness, I mean, is just not letting somebody out of, a little bit of, not stubbornness, but harshness, I suppose, in life can be a good thing, because you've got to have that sometimes. And you want those sort of people to be in positions of power as well, because you want people to know what hardship is. You want people to know who, grafting, cutting corners, etc. But there's a thin line between that and just being an outright arsehole, I agree. Do you think, I'm not answering questions about football on here, and there are people asking about that. David Brent or Alan Partridge, says Lord CFC. I do like them both, to be honest. I wouldn't want to leave one out. What made you fall in love with Manchester United, says Arziel Masterson. I've read a football question out now, and I can't go back on that. My granddad and my mum supported Manchester United. My mum in the 60s because of George Best. My granddad was massive about specifically the Busby Babes and everything. So yeah, that's where it came from for me. And more and more football questions. Best and worst Christmas ever. Great. We've left this brilliantly towards the end, so the hardcore people are going to get this, because I promised you this last week, and I'm tempted to have it as a topic for next week, because it'll be very, very close to Christmas, and maybe it will be. But I think that one of the worst Christmases, and I have said this before in a video, worst Christmas present ever was, like, my family really are brilliant around Christmas, and they love Christmas, and they really do get into it. And I think that Christmas is a magical time of year, and I think that comes from a lot. Not for everybody. It's a sad time of year for everybody, for a lot of people as well. But in the main, Christmas is seen as an exciting time of year. This is why people put their Christmas trees up in the middle of November, because they love it. And this is why most people have lights and everything up. So it's a magical time of year. And I don't think it changes that much when you're older. In some ways, it's better. You can get drunk and stuff like that, or, you can stay up, or whatever. So I really wanted Championship Manager and Sensible World of Soccer on the Amiga. And I was about, I don't know, probably 12, 13. I really wanted it, and I'd been told you're not going to get it because it was and this is what I mean. This is very important. I got people calling me a Tory yesterday, which they couldn't be further from the truth. I left school with no A levels. I left with a couple of GCSEs. I didn't go to university. I'm from a working class background, so you couldn't get less Tory background than me. And I did have times in my life growing up, as a lot of people did, where being from a working class background, there wasn't loads of money around. I had a really good childhood, but there wasn't loads of money around, and you certainly would never, very rarely get a present unless it was your birthday or Christmas. I see, like, my nephews and nieces and even my kids, they'll get a present, every now and again. Oh, there's your present for out of nowhere, and that just didn't really used to happen. So because money's too tight to mention. Oh, let's talk about money. I'm going into an old crappy song there. And I really wanted this, and obviously as a kid, you're like, I think it's good to be honest with kids, because as a kid I would have been like, you're not getting it. Oh, it's Christmas though. Santa's going to bring it. I've been good. I've only kicked the cat twice today, and I didn't used to kick the cat. I don't think we even had a cat. And so I was told under no certain terms, you're not getting an Amiga this year, so don't think that you are. But then in the week before Christmas, I think my mum was getting like really excited about Christmas, and she did say a couple of times to me, I was like, I really wish I was getting an Amiga. And she was like, well, you never know what's going to happen. Now, I don't know, because I wouldn't want to make her feel bad. I don't know whether the plan was still to get me one, and maybe they were going to get it off, they didn't have eBay in those days, but a second-hand one or something, and it might have fell through. But I did start to get my hopes up that I was going to get one. And I suppose, nobody's perfect, are there? Maybe it was just to do with making Christmas exciting for me. And, you never know. You never know what might happen on Christmas Day. Anyway, I woke up on Christmas Day and I didn't get an Amiga. I think I got a tape recorder and a double cassette of Now. Probably was Now. One now 104 now. I mean, this is a compilation. They're called Now and then a number. We're on Now 104 now. So it was probably Now 13 or something like that. And a tape recorder, which is, I've never been massively into music to sit and listen to music. I'm not like that. Music to me, I love music, but it's a background thing. So to get a tape recorder with a couple of cassettes, which people go, what's cassettes? Look it up on Google. A way of playing music. To get that on Christmas Day morning, for somebody who's quite creative, was quite disappointing, because I would have been happy with some Lego to build and play with or whatever, but a tape recorder, I really like this. So it wasn't the best. It was a decent present, but it wasn't the best present for me, and I didn't get the thing I thought I was going to get, but I sort of had been led to believe that it might happen. So that was quite disappointing. That's one always stands out. But I was very lucky. I had good Christmases growing up. So and I did get the Amiga the next year, and that was brilliant. And I remember getting up at 4 a.m, and I was playing on it by half 4, so it was great. So that was probably the worst one in relation to expectations, and then what I actually received. What are you looking forward to most in the new decade, says Oliver? It's interesting, isn't it? 2020, another end of another decade, and I think that sort of jumped up on me that it is the start of a new decade. But look, I was around for the millennium. Some of you will be, some of you won't be. I was of drinking age on that night, and ultimately that's quite a big thing that people were looking forward to. 2020, the new millennium. I actually had a job working on the Millennium Bug. I had to go all around these council buildings, because obviously the council owns a lot of buildings and a lot of areas, and basically put a floppy disk in their computer. I don't know what it used to do. I did it for about 3 months. It was quite decent money. Just go around all these council buildings saying, I'm here to make sure that your computer doesn't blow up on January the 1st. So people used to make me a cup of tea and be really interested. I didn't have a bloody clue what I was doing, really. It was agency work. You'd basically just go to the floppy disk section, again, Google it, chuck it into the computer, it'd make some noises for about half an hour. You'd take it out, get them to sign a form, and it was done. And they thought I was some... to be honest with you, it would have been quite a cool job. Probably would have got a lot of admiration and women from it if most of the women working in the council weren't in their 90s. But anyway, that wouldn't stop some people, gilf. But so new decade for me. Look, when Millennium came around, everyone tried to get really excited about it. Some people really did. It was just another new year, and I think New Year's can be pretty crap anyway, I think. 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, hey! Everything's the same as it was 5 minutes ago, but it's just got a new name. New decade, whatever. I'm not massive. As you can tell, I'm not massively excited about that. Christmas presents first thing in the morning or after dinner, says Sade. I did see something this week about when you open your Christmas presents, says a lot about what class you are. If you are literally waking up at 1 minute past midnight to open your presents, you're super chav, and then you move all your way through from chav to working class to middle class to upper class. So for me, growing up working class, it would be. I remember waking up at 3 a.m. and opening all my presents. So that I don't do that anymore. The wife would kill me, but nowadays. To be fair, I like to get up in the morning and have a shower and have a nice cup of tea, and then everyone gather around the Christmas tree and open the presents. So it's normally 8 o'clock or so. But the good thing is it's all about the kids, isn't it? So the kids have a little stocking at the end of their bed that's got, you know, probably 5 or 6 little sort of presents in there, you know, like your tuber Smarties and that, so they can open them when they wake up. But then obviously all the other stuff will be around 8 o'clock. But I know people who, you know, I think the latest we've ever opened our presents was on the evening when we first had our oldest child, because it was just such a long day opening their presents. We never got round to opening ours until she'd gone to bed on the night. That's the latest I've ever done it. But yeah, I know some people wait and do it till after the Queen in the afternoon. I don't know. But for me, it's not, you know, it's not all about the presents anyway. It's just a nice time of year, isn't it? Anyway, well, I think we'll wrap it up there, unless I can see another good question. Christmas tips for successful Christmas wrapping, says Alex Prentice. I tell you what, I always thought I was a good rapper, and I tried to wrap one the other day, and I ended up with half a roll of sellotape, just, you know, closing rips and stuff like that. But square things are easy to do. I always like to do the Christmas wrapping, actually. I save it all up, I get it all out in the bedroom, and sounds like I'm going somewhere with this, and then I'll just put something on the telly, maybe VH1, all the Christmas classics, and just wrap away. I quite like doing it, really. Thanks everyone for watching, and I will speak to you very soon. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new, smash a like, and I am going to drop a link in the video description if you want to get one of these jumpers. I realise I'm wearing something that actually people can buy, so if you want to get a Christmas jumper, the link's in the video. I'll speak to you all soon. Hope you've enjoyed it.